Children of bloody delight. Another one of those half-baked philosophies. Every day there's a new one.
Well, we're interested in this one. Or to be precise, Moxon is.
Aye.
A cryptic note.
Good old Charlie. Never be explicit when you can be cryptic.
Investigate background, Children of Delight, Charnwood Market Hadley, urgent test. Moxon. Urgent test.
He's got one of his CIA neuroses again. I mean, do we know why?
Well, at a guess, money for one, Ingmar Hedin for another.
And the third? Now, what is the real reason that security is getting involved in all this?
Look, as you say, Moxon enjoys being cryptic. Let's look at a few pretty pictures.
Right. Ah, there's our Swedish millionaire.
Alleged.
His boat.
Again alleged. The hop.
The what? What?
Swedish for hope.
Oh, that is pretty. I know. We know it's a front.
Well, that presumably is what we're supposed to investigate.
Ah, there's another one of his little toys. Actually, it's something that fellow earns more than I do in a week.
And the bulk of it is piped straight through to Charnwood Market Hadley.
Jimmy! Jimmy, stop! It's me! It's your mother, Jimmy! Jimmy! Jimmy!
Duncan Ross, one of Hedin's top acolytes. Apart from that, we know nothing about him. They have a passion for secrecy.
Ah, yes, that's Market Hadley.
Oh, nice.
Twin set and pearls and tea on the vicarage lawn.
And 5 miles from Market Hadley, Charnwood.
Owned.
Owned.
Moxon wants to know if Hedin is just a rich crank or...
And here's another thing.
What's that?
It's not only their money that comes from abroad. Most of their members come in, well, as ordinary tourists.
Well,
on tourist visas.
Yes, but that doesn't make it illegal, does it, sir?
No, they're a peaceful, law-abiding lot on the surface.
So with no real justification on the surface, Moxon wants us to stick our noses in. Well, I suggest we take steps to...
We already have.
Having a look round?
Oh, yes. Is it all right?
Yes, perfectly. I wish more people would. It would save a lot of misunderstanding.
Are you misunderstood?
Frequently.
I'm sorry, I don't know a great deal about it.
At least you're open-minded enough to come and find out.
Curious.
And do I look like a crank to you, Miss,
Gifford, Sarah Gifford. No, not in the least.
Good. Shall we sit down?
Mrs. Bishop.
Alias General Dog's Body. No, we're not cranks, Miss Gifford. We're just a small group of dedicated people who believe we've found a better way of living.
Are there many of you?
It fluctuates. Oh, Mr. Ross. This is Miss Gifford. She's interested in us.
Good. Good.
Well, where shall I begin? These are our inceptors. Beginners, learners, if you like. Mostly young people, but not all of them.
Well, you certainly seem very keen.
They're happy, Miss Gifford.
This thing of yours, can you tell me about it?
I can show you, if you're willing to spend a little time with us.
Here? Well, it is rather a super place.
Oh, fine. Now then, just a few routine questions. You don't mind, do you?
Go ahead.
Name, where we put that. Age,
26.
occupation,
Secretary. I'm between jobs.
fine. Oh, would you like something to drink while we're doing this? I would. Oh, that's Mr. Turner.
He shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, Mr. Turner's an unsubmissive.
But with all these young people
He
about...
disobeyed the code. We must maintain discipline. Now, tea or coffee?
What?
Tea or coffee?
Well, it's wrong. There's wicked things going on.
I grant you that they're a bit of a rum lot, Mrs. Cole, but they've done nothing against the law.
But what about the girl, the one I told you about, the one I saw?
She had a row with her boyfriend. Got a bit hysterical.
Who told you that?
She told us, the girl.
Too terrified of them to say anything else.
We gave her every chance to leave the place, to come out with us. She wouldn't.
Then what about my boy Jimmy?
Well, Jimmy is over 21, Mrs. Cole.
But he wouldn't just leave home, not of his own accord.
Are you saying that he's being held by force?
No.
See, unfortunately, there are lots of youngsters who leave home these days, but there isn't very much that we can do about it, you see.
But I keep telling you it wasn't like that. If he'd gone for a job or a girl, that's different.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Cole. Margaret Hadley Police Station.
It wasn't like that.
One moment, please, sir. I'm sorry. Could you describe the vehicle, please, sir? Blue, and the make? When did you last see the vehicle, sir?
Of course, we've known about them. They've been quietly digging themselves in for years. Why now?
It's an unhealthy, mind-bending cult.
Now, look, I'm not interested in your personal prejudices, Moxon. I must have facts. Well, there's nothing here that would warrant DI-5 taking an interest.
That's for us to decide.
Look, if I'm to investigate, I must have the facts.
You had all the facts on Operation Troika. That didn't prevent goof up, as I recall.
I see.
There's not much more I can add at this stage, except Hadine's applied for a visa,
And I take it it's to be refused.
if you can find sufficient grounds.
Witch hunting was never one of my personal pastimes.
You're being naive, Superintendent. You're not for Hadine.
I know nothing about the man,
If he's playing politics,
which is purely an assumption.
no one's asking you to pull invisible rabbits out of the hat.
And that, my dear Moxon, is just as well.
The ultimate freedom is to know yourself, this above all. And together in strength, we shall achieve the state of perfect grace. Lecture ends.
Any questions?
When do we ever get to meet Mr. Hadine?
Soon, very soon. Well?
You're joking.
Seraphics. Look, she met me for tea and she told me all about it. Sergeant Gifford's a sensible girl.
Yes, well, I hope she is, with all that mumbo-jumbo they're pumping into her.
Go on.
Well, it seems there's 3 sorts of grades. Inceptors, that's what she is. Then they pass some kind of test or other. When they pass into a state of grace. Then they become seraphics. Mrs. Bishop is one.
Anything known?
Yes, Elsa Bishop. Age 38, nothing in records, nothing in criminal. She did leave her husband after joining the movement.
State of withdrawal.
Huh?
Well, that's what they call it when they cut themselves off from their families.
Common?
Fairly common, sir. Been a number of complaints.
Well, look into that, will you?
Yes, sir. Then the 3rd stage is the transcendence. Well, there aren't many of those. Duncan Ross is one, of course, and Hadine. They're the sort of high-ups, the decision-making body. That's called the ecclesia.
Oh, my God.
Well, it's run like a cross between a religion and an autonomous political state. Gifford says they're apparently very sincere.
Well, if it's a cover-up for something, it is the most elaborate of all time.
Sergeant Gifford is impressed by their sincerity, is he?
Frankly, sir, I think she finds herself in 2 minds. On the one hand, the sincerity and honesty. On the other, well,
Yes, what?
I think there's something rather sick going on down there.
Communication, that's one of the most important things. And what I say to you right here and now will have its repercussions felt all over the world, like a pebble in a lake, dropped in a lake. No matter how small the pebble or how big the lake, the ripples will always reach the farthest bank. And another thing is that we try and achieve liberation through a dialectical process, if you understand what I mean.
I think so. Mr. Turner, now, is he liberating himself? Scrubbing the floor on his hands and knees all day?
Well, Mr. Turner's an unsubmissive.
Yes, I know. He disobeyed the code. What was it he did, Jimmy?
Well, the decision was taken by the ecclesia. Mr. Turner will do menial duties for 1 week and then be restored to his former place.
But does he have to do it? I mean, can't he say no and just walk out?
Yeah, he could.
Jimmy, what I'd really like to know, I mean, you've been here longer than me. You're more in the picture.
Perhaps.
These taped teachings and lectures that they send over from Mr. Hadine, would you say there was any political slant to their philosophy?
The young lady uses they all the time, and never we. I wonder why.
They wouldn't listen to me. Nobody.
I'm afraid the police are in a very difficult position in a case like this, Mrs. Cole.
Back to my MP. Want to see the doctor? They all said they couldn't do a thing.
That may well be true.
Well, I think it's monstrous that a thing like this could happen.
Tell me about Jimmy.
Well, it was through some girl he met in his last year at university. Oh, there was nothing in it, I mean, nothing like that. She who started him on this Children of Delight rubbish. First of all, I took no notice. I just thought it was one of his interests. Then he told me he was going to give up his studies for a year and go and live at that Charnwood place.
You didn't mind at that stage?
I couldn't, could I? He's a grown man. It was up to him. Naturally, I hadn't got an inkling then as to what was going to happen.
What did?
Well, first of all, they stopped him coming to see me. Well, he used to pop in often, Charnwood being local. And they stopped him writing to me.
Couldn't you go and see him?
They wouldn't let me in. Naturally, after that, I wasn't all that anxious to go.
I'm sorry.
I can't go on like this much longer, miss. Not like this.
Well, We'll just have to see what we can do. By the way, Mrs. Cole, what was Jimmy studying for?
He was going into the Foreign Office, miss.
Damned circumstantial. Whispers, innuendos, nothing that even remotely smells like a fact.
Well, the telex links to Charnwood, to Zurich, to Stockholm.
90% of big business has telex links.
Yes, I know, but this isn't a registered... no, this is not a business, just a registered charity.
The line between the two is becoming increasingly blurred.
And the island.
Well, the Mediterranean one?
Yes, the one that Hayden's going to buy.
Everybody buys island.
Yeah, but not for holiday camps.
It's a convenient base for any other kind of occupation? No. Point taken, Elliot. But it's a damn far-fetched one.
Mr. Moxon's here, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Would you like to
Chief Inspector. Well, Eden, still bending over backwards to be impartial.
Some of us find it necessary to try.
Hayden and his crusading little mob. I gather you don't think we've sufficient justification for investigating further.
Not as things stand, no.
Character called Vaclav Husek. Resident USA 1941 to 1968. Last 5 years had a top job with NASA at Cape Kennedy.
Ah, what was he working at? What job? What?
He's a physicist.
Physicist.
Finally, we get some facts.
We had to be sure, Eden.
Go on.
August 68, the Americans lifted his security clearance. Husek was kicked out.
Do you think he's a Charnwood, sir?
That's right. Vaclav Husek is one of your children of delight. There you are. You better read.
Well, well, well.
Mr. Turner? Mr. Turner? Well, can't I talk to you?
Schismatic.
Well, who cut you off? The Ecclesia? Oh, look here, Mr. Turner, you don't have to do this, you know. We're not living in the Dark Ages. They tell me you had a nice business, a home and a family. Why don't you go back, Mr. Turner?
Happy here.
Are you? Well, what was it you did for them to declare you an unsubmissive?
Cumber.
Oh, yes, he's the dark-haired one.
Cumber.
Well, go on, tell me about him. What does he do?
I've got the list here, sir.
Well?
I've got the list of all the people at Charnwood. Now, any one of them could be Husek. Shall I take this back, sir?
Oh, thank you. Yes, he'd have changed his name when he came here and what he looked like. He was too well known in America.
Yes, well, he's got a beard, thinning on top. I mean, all he'd need is a razor, a toupee, or...
Well, not even an accent. He was born in this country, apparently.
Yes, sir.
Scottish mother, Czech father. Spent most of his youth in the Midlands. The elder Husek worked as a body sprayer in Coventry. And went on a brief visit to his paternal relatives in 39. And from there to the USA.
Yes, British national, British passport. If he had the right qualifications, there'd be no trouble in getting a top job anywhere. Do we know why the Americans lifted his security clearance?
Moxon's sweating on it. They're telling the full gist.
Why don't they send us a photograph?
Slight, to say the least.
Well, anyway, I've got Morrison down there to keep an eye open on the place.
When you're there, in that atmosphere, well, it sort of gets through to you. Their way of life and this business with the flowers.
Careful.
Oh, I know it's a load of old psychological claptrap. And sitting here with you, well, it's easy to think it's one big giggle. But those people, they're hooked.
Jimmy Cole?
An intelligent, sensible young man, but he's hooked.
Does he mention his mother?
He won't talk about her, closes up tight. And Mr. Turner. It's pathetic.
But they accept the discipline.
They seem almost pleased about it.
Now, what about the flowers?
Oh, it's one of their things. They don't have any cut flowers about the place. They believe it's sinful to cut growing things.
They have a sentimental streak.
Oh, no, not really. No, well, they don't smoke and they don't drink. And they don't eat artificial foods. I'd say it's got quite a lot going for it.
Well, what do you think? I mean, do you reckon its appeal is mainly to the disenchanted, dropouts?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people going in there, well-known people.
Really?
And so far, there's been no political indoctrination of any sort.
Well, Mr. Moxon evidently thinks so. We wouldn't be here, eating stale pastries.
Sometimes, it gets through to you. Well, when you're there, in that atmosphere, it's like waves of peacefulness sort of flowing around you. And it all goes ugly and, well, quite frankly, rather frightening.
Oh, look. You see that man sitting over there behind us?
What does he look like?
Dark, biggish build, heavy face. Like that one?
Pretty.
Is he one of them?
His name's Combo. I'm not sure, but I think he's on to me.
Is he, what do you call it? A seraphic?
Well, I wouldn't swear to it, but I think he's one of their secret police.
Whichever way you look at it, the whole thing's just a load of hokum. But there's no denying it, an awful lot of them believe in it. All those earnest kids, the disillusioned ones, the deluded one. And that's what makes them dangerous, this damn sincerity.
Well, you're coming round to Moxon's way of thinking.
That will be the day. No. Children of delight are opening up all over the place, right? And they're kids, students. Now, if there's any indoctrination going on, any brainwashing going on...
Fertile soil.
Exactly. And all these kids, they're going back to their universities and their colleges all over the place. Look at Hornsey, Sorbonne, LSE. Seeds have got to be sown somewhere.
Miss Gifford?
Hello, Mr. Ross. My, it's miserable.
I want to talk to you.
Why, yes, fine.
Not in there.
I've just been into Market Hadley. I've got a warning for you. Avoid the Cozy Corner Cafe at all costs. Their chocolate eclairs are prehistoric.
And I've got a warning for you, Miss Gifford.
Yes.
I wanted to get down to Charnwood. At last, we've been able to identify who's there.
What, he's down there?
Very much so, yes. The one at the back.
Duncan Ross. Well. I'll get right down there, sir.
I see.
You don't deny it?
Well, there wouldn't be a lot of point, would there?
No.
How long have you known?
That you're a police spy? For some days now.
And you haven't told them?
Not yet.
Why?
I have my reasons.
And is that what you wanted? To tell me you knew what I was doing here?
To confirm it in my own mind. And as I said before...
Yes?
To warn you. Good day, Miss Gifford.
No. No, Mr. Haydeen, I don't deny it.
Withheld this information.
Yes.
Therefore you betrayed us.
No.
It was your duty. You failed.
I wasn't sure.
You lie.
No, I wouldn't betray the belief. I've suffered enough for it. I've given up everything. You know that.
You will accept punishment.
We've lost sight of our original aims, of everything we set out to do.
Progress is inevitable. Would you stand in its way?
Progress?
You dispute that?
Yes, I do. We're a world fellowship now, not a handful of people in a room.
Is that why you betrayed us?
The betrayal was not mine.
You will accept punishment. Well?
Yes, I accept
The authorities should make an extensive study of this extraordinary and fast-growing cult that calls itself the Children of Delight. It is objectionable and socially harmful, and its practice poses a serious medical and moral threat to the community.
Apart from Husek, we've nothing as far as I'm concerned. What have we got there? A man who was thought to be a security risk. Now, apparently, because he was becoming heavily involved in the American branch of the Children of Delight.
That's all they told us.
That's all they had to tell us. Look, Boxon, you know as well as I do. On those jobs, they don't take chances. Look, didn't you get the message? I said no interruptions. Out!
Yes.
On those jobs, bloke only has to slap his pal on the back to be labelled a queer. Too many nights in the town, wives who can't hold their liquor. They won't wear it, not with what they've got at stake.
So, he went to Charnwood. Why?
What? Why not? He's lost his job in the States. He'd worked his way up to becoming one of Hayden's top men. Why shouldn't he start again over here?
I gather you haven't an answer for any one of the allegations in this article.
Look, let me just remind you. We're probing for evidence that foreign funds are being used to finance subversive activities in this country. Our brief doesn't extend beyond that. Look, I thought I told... Yes? What? You quite sure? Right. You get back here as soon as you can. I want an immediate report. Jordan. Ross. Hissig. Whatever has disappeared.
Oh, I was looking for Mr. Ross.
Mr. Ross is no longer with us.
Oh?
He's been declared an apostate.
Well, who by?
The Ecclesia.
But he can't be. He was a transcendent like Mr. Hayden.
Mr. Ross has betrayed us.
Oh, I don't believe it. Well, who to?
I have no further information.
But you must know. Well, how did he betray us?
We don't question the judgment of the Ecclesia.
But he was a member of the Ecclesia.
That makes his betrayal the more heinous.
Where is he? Where did he go?
That's no longer any concern of ours.
I see.
We're a fellowship, Miss Gifford, closely united by a common bond. We're trusted implicitly by those who join our ranks, and we'd never betray that trust. But equally, we will not tolerate those who betray our trust. We won't tolerate betrayal, Miss Gifford. You've been here for several days now.
Nearly 2 weeks.
Do you want to go on with it?
Well, I'd like to.
You know about the initiation?
When you sort of pass from being on trial to being accepted as a member, yes.
Well, I think it's time you were initiated, Miss Gifford, if you agree.
Fine, fine.
Good.
Well, Morrison said that Ross left Charnwood at about 12. Now, there was nothing particularly abnormal in that because he usually left between 12 and 2.
Where'd he go?
I don't think we need all this, look. He didn't live in like the rest of them. He had a cottage rented a few hundred yards down the road.
Then?
Well, then when he didn't turn up at 2 o'clock, Morrissey went down there to the cottage and, well, Ross had paid up and packed up and he'd gone.
Train?
Well, he had an Austin Mini, a 1968 maroon. I've got the number.
Alert at all forces?
Yes, sir. Well, let's hope he doesn't get away.
Well, that's what we said about George Blake. Got those maps rolled off, yeah?
Ready, Miss Gifford?
Ready?
For your initiation.
Oh. Oh, yes, fine.
Splendid. Well, if you'll just come this way. Follow Mr. Comber. Go in.
Dead. When?
The body was discovered about half an hour ago. It was identified by papers found on it. The local force immediately got onto us. Yes. It was Ross, all right.
Where was this?
Small pub a few miles outside Market Headley.
The report will
look,
be...
Those are all the details we have as yet.
The circumstances of
Yes,
his
well, I
death,
feel the same way as you do. I'll phone you in 3 hours, sir. Is that all right?
I suppose your American friends are now going to close the dossier, Moxon. All right, buzz off. Have you told the truth?
Yes.
Are you sure?
You swear it?
Yes.
You feel guilty about something, some secret you're afraid we'll find out.
Have you ever assaulted anyone?
Been in jail?
Committed a crime?
Do these questions upset you?
Embarrassed you?
A little.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Or wanted to kill anyone?
Do you hate anyone?
Do you hate a member of your family? Well, do you love your family?
Oh, yes.
Ever wanted to kill a member of your family?
Are you a virgin?
No.
When did you
not?
lose your virginity?
I forget.
Have you ever slept with a woman?
Oh, you're a lesbian?
No.
You sure?
You've never slept with
Not
a
even
woman.
at
Answer,
school.
Miss
Have you ever
Gifford.
committed incest?
Oh.
What about
Masochism, sadism.
sexual deviation?
Answer,
Any
Miss
form of
Gifford.
sexual deviation? Have you been declared insane?
Are you mentally
Put in
stable?
an asylum?
Are you afraid?
Afraid of us?
Afraid of what we'll find out?
Because we will find out. You know we will. Answer.
Answer, Miss Gifford.
What will we find out,
What
Miss
will we
Gifford?
find out?
Are
Miss
you a
Gifford?
Judas?
A betrayer like Duncan Ross?
Who are you, Miss Gifford? Who are you?
I'm a police officer. I'm a police officer. I felt like a traitor. That isn't something that's easy to
You're
understand.
not letting yourself be influenced by a bunch of psychopaths, Sergeant Gifford.
No, sir. No, I'm not really. Well, Mrs. Bishop's a bit of a hard case, and Comber. But the others, no. Naive, maybe, but perhaps to the point of stupidity, but they're certainly not mad.
But you know about Ross, I take it?
Yes, he tried to warn me, Sir Ross.
Did he say what about?
Well, I got the impression he wasn't too happy with things.
Not happy.
Well, he was one of the old guard from back in America.
But what about his death?
We can't answer that till we know how he died.
Well, if they'd known that he knew about me, sir, and hadn't told them, they'd consider that quite a serious betrayal.
This system of punishment of theirs, how far do you think they'd go, Sergeant?
Oh, I don't know, sir. I've thought about that one, too. I'm sorry I made such a mess of things.
Sorry you had such a rough time, eh, Moxon? I don't think she can be blamed for breaking down.
We don't have a lot of experience of that in our department.
Sergeant Gifford is a loyal and efficient officer. She can't be blamed.
No one is. But some jobs are better handled by men. I did say so at the time.
Yes, I remember. I still disagreed. Oh, Sergeant Gifford.
Yes, sir?
You sure you weren't influenced by them in any way? It would be understandable.
They're very persuasive.
Sure, so I gather.
No, I wasn't influenced.
Good. Then you tell me something. Do you think they're crackpot fanatics?
Well, I think they're simply a group of people who are deluded into thinking they've last found somewhere to belong. Well, spiritually. I think they're victims of their own inadequacy. But then, sir, aren't we all?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir?
Know thyself, and the truth will set you free. Know thyself, and the truth will set you free. To know thyself, know thyself, know thyself, know thyself.
All right, sir. All right, I'll tell him. Detective Inspector Lomax is on his way back, sir.
What does Mr. Lomax think about all this, Sergeant?
That's for the inspector to say, sir.
Yes, but he's not here, is he? And I'm asking you.
Yes, sir.
Now then, tell me, did you see the body? Was there any suspicious circumstances? Any
An overdose, sir?
sleeping pills?
Phenobarbital.
Oh, dear, then it looks like suicide.
It was suicide, sir.
That is for the inquiry to decide, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Now, there could have been something else.
No, sir.
Why'd you say that?
The door was locked on the inside, sir.
You could have told me that before, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else you have forgotten to tell me?
No, sir.
Good.
Only the note.
The what?
Suicide note, sir.
Did you read it?
Yes, sir.
You know that I'm a detective chief inspector from Special Branch, don't you?
I didn't know you were from Special Branch, sir.
Oh, well, now you know.
Yes, sir.
Fine, now tell me, what did the note say?
Sir?
I have come down here on a dirty, underheated train to this godforsaken spot, especially for this inquiry, Sergeant.
I know, sir. You'll have to ask Inspector Lomax, sir.
I can't say I like some of the accusations they're flinging about.
Police state methods?
Manufactured evidence. Phone tapping. Secret surveillance.
They're just oversensitive.
What? Are they? Now, look, have you read this article carefully? It seems that since this hoo-ha started, some of their members have been refused jobs, houses. Their children have been refused entry into schools.
People still have the freedom of choice, thank God.
Look, Moxon, I don't like what I've heard about the Children of Delight any more than you have, but I'd fight to the death to defend their right to exist, even if their beliefs have to be repugnant to me. What kind of freedom do we want?
We're being pressed for our recommendation re Hadine's visa.
I'm aware of that.
The Home Secretary is in a very embarrassing position. We've been requested to expedite the matter.
You'll have my report in the morning. Eden? No? Oh. What?
I've got the coroner's verdict.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
Well, he definitely committed suicide.
Seems that Duncan Ross quite definitely committed suicide. Carry on.
Well, they found out that he kept quiet about our Sergeant Gifford, and they sort of kicked him out. They called him a traitor or something in their mumbo-jumbo. Anyway, he felt that he couldn't go on without being part of it, so he locked himself in, took a fistful of phenobarbs, and that was about it. Yeah, it's all down in the note.
Tea on the vicarage lawn, huh?
Well, if you don't mind, sir, I think I'll get the next train back.
Morning, sir.
Huh? Is it? Much in?
Mainly routine. The civil rights people want to hold a march on Sunday 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
They want our views.
Who's organising?
Mohammed Patel and the Reverend Stewart.
Well, there won't be any trouble, not there. Not the proposed route. Ah, thank you.
The other reports, sir, you've decided?
Head in. I don't decide. I'm simply asked to investigate and submit my recommendations.
Well, I think the whole thing's, well, creepy.
What? You think? So you'd ban the cult? Hmm?
It's only my opinion, sir.
Well, I dislike persecution. Whatever my personal views, especially when it's of a tiny minority.
You heard what Sergeant Gifford said. They do get something out of it, all those people. Something they fail to find anywhere else.
The question is, do I add my weight to the mob shouting off with their heads?
It's unpleasant. Odd. I don't think either of us like it very much.
That's a fairly succinct summary.
There's been no evidence of subversive activity, has there, sir?
None. Right.
You ready to do the report?
Yes.
Hello?
Oh, wait, just, I want to get out of my
Just a
whiteness.
minute, please.
We had a burst last night.
Much damage, sir?
No, enough.
I know we had
See
a
what the
burst last
blasted
year.
plumbers
It's
are.
terrible.
Has it ever occurred to you, Helen, that freedom is a two-edged sword? Oh, Mary? You're still standing half an inch of water, dear?
I want Jimmy back. I want my son back.
He's made his decision, Mrs. Cole.
You've twisted his mind against me.
No, that's not true. We've helped him towards a truer understanding of himself. Any action he takes as a result of that is entirely his own.
They're going to stop you, you know.
They can't stop us. It's too late now.
I want to see him. I want to see my son.
All right.
Sire, the HS has your report. Hayden's visa is being refused.
I see.
And before you jump in with your customary defense of human rights, Superintendent, we don't want the man in this country. It's as simple as that.
But he's broken no law.
Sergeant.
He's an undesirable alien, Miss Webb.
Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy! Jimmy, come back.
I'm sorry. I truly am.
That's that, then.
What?
Doesn't seem to be much we can do about the Children of Delight, does there, sir?
I doubt it.
Sir?
When a troubled society can't give people the things that they really want, a few of them will start looking elsewhere. Even if they are led down a few blind alleys, you cannot see, they'll go right on looking.